Trey just said something that kind of made me laugh. And he said he's lived and worked in studios in New York and LA. And I realized that's absolutely true. I've lived in studios. One of the things that I've always felt that I do, and that is my job, is to conceptualize the frequency content of the material that I'm working on. So the artist will say to me, I want this section to be big, right? Now big, as we all know, doesn't mean full of everything. Doesn't mean the kitchen sink. It means energy-wise, right? It doesn't mean, everything is just as loud as possible. You can have it's only 3 instruments and be big, right? And I think that's a really important thing to remember, specifically to you as engineers, but also to you as producers and artists. And that is that the frequency content and how that frequency is laid out in the spectrum itself, as far as its volume and the harmonic content around it, is really what we're doing. And obviously there are parameters for that based around the genre, right? And the specific tempo of the song and all of those sorts of things. So when an artist says to me, I want something to sound big, I don't necessarily immediately think I have to turn stuff up. Sometimes I'll send it into, say, a decapitator or some kind of harmonic saturation device, and then I'll create some width to it. Now this could be one single instrument, with a little vocal, and I'm good, and I'm big, right? I mean, some of the biggest events in music are a vocal and a piano. And that's because the vocal is quite dynamic and amazing. So if I can impart anything today, I think when you're interpreting your comments or even your own as an artist, when you're thinking about when you want something to be big or small or specific or clean or whatever like that, think about it in terms of its harmonic content, its energy, and how is that energy hitting you? Because the different frequencies have different energy for human ears, right? They connotate a certain thing depending on which frequency spectrum you're working in, right? And that's exactly how I'm thinking about all comments. Whenever I'm getting comments at all, I'm not thinking about bass drum, kick drum, snare, guitar. I'm not thinking about any of that. I'm thinking about, oh, you're saying you want this to happen here and that to happen here based on the frequencies and the energy that's in the elements that I have to work with. That's what I'm thinking. A big part of what we do is trying to interpret somebody's psyche and what their intention is. Because that's what music is. It's really the emotional aspect of it. The technical thing, that's why it was really odd for me when I was much younger, working for other engineers and seeing how they were just sort of a stick in the mud, like, no, this is technically how it has to be. I'm not going to do it any other way. And I always found that very strange. And I think that interpretation and understanding and how to interpret somebody's comments is a really important facet to being a good producer, a good engineer. As producers, of course, you're serving the song. You've got to figure out a way to make that song the most interesting thing it can be. As an engineer, It's interpreting something that, you know, only that artist and that producer might get.